AusCham is probably one of the most active chambers here in Thailand. There has been always a focus, because we Australians love to have a lot of fun, on the social side. But about 2 years ago, the board members of the chamber rethought their position, and the president was elected on the basis that we needed to be more business focused. It's been 2 years in the making, but today there was the opportunity to have the 2012 Australian-Thailand Business Conference, which was titled Australia and Thailand in an Integrated Asia. Are we really ready to do business with each other more than we ever had done before? One of the issues, of course, is that the balance of trade is so very different. Our cultures are so very different. And years ago, there's always this misunderstanding of how can I do business in a country that doesn't speak as much English as we do? How do I know what the systems are? And there are so many problems put in people's ways. But the countries nonetheless have done very well. We thought we'd take that opportunity of talking to the president of AusCham here to find out at the conclusion of the event, what did he feel about the success or otherwise of this particular business conference. Okay. John, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Valerie, for having me.
Now, the reality is lots of speakers at all levels, you know, from PTT to the ANZ Bank to NESDB to the Stock Exchange to the smaller businesses. Was that part of the success, was the number of different speakers that you had talking about such a wide range?
Well, I mean, the topic was an integrated Asia, so we went through a whole journey of topics there, covering, as you said, Burma, education, the Australian-Thailand trade relationship. So we covered many things today. But I think by the end of that, I mean, people have come walking away feeling that they certainly learned something. There was a lot on offer today, a lot of facts and figures. Yeah, so I think it's been very successful.
What was the highlight for you, John, in terms of what you foresaw 2 years ago when you stood for president, and what we've achieved today? Because there's lots of talking, as you know, but we need to, from here, take some of the ideas, some of the actions forward. Can we do that?
Okay, yes, as you said, we made this sort of policy pledge, I guess, amongst ourselves to get back to business, and this has certainly been the culmination of that. No, I think that you said there is a lot of talking. I mean, there are things that both the private sector need to do and probably our governments as well. I mean, I think when it comes to the public policy side, I guess government has the opportunity to show us, lead the way, show us how things can be done. Now, that's not always easy. I mean, sometimes it's a case of the private sector doing things and then the government sector catching up to, you know, provide that with policy. But there are certain things. I mean, this conference comes at quite a crucial time in the sort of certainly Thailand. I mean, Australia's place in Asia, because the recent launch of the white paper on the Asian century that was made just 2 weeks ago by our Prime Minister Julia Gillard, and that was a paper basically focusing Australia on opportunities in this region. Now, one of the interesting things that came out of that was that I guess Australians are not that focused on what's happening in Asia still, and so how do you get Australians back in Australia thinking about Asia? It starts from an early age, perhaps at school. Kids over there don't get the chance to come and experience Asia. They may see places like Thailand as a holiday destination.
Is Myanmar being the hot topic, is that something that people in Australia are going to go, wow, Myanmar, I've just got to get in there on the ground floor? Does that mean that Thailand can take advantage of their neighbour to actually leapfrog across, and maybe this is where Australians will say, hey, you know, yeah, Thailand's on the way and maybe we get some benefits? Is that a possibility?
I mean, it is a possibility, but I think similar to Thailand, unfortunately, there is a level of apathy in Australia. Now,
business that good in Australia?
You wonder. Now,
good answer.
No, but I mean, yeah, certainly Thailand is an excellent springboard into Myanmar. It presents, you know, like established businesses here can help each other go into Myanmar. I mean, my own business, we've just established an office there. Our clients here want to go into Myanmar, so we see opportunity. Now, can the same be said about an Australian-based company? Well, the ones who are already in Asia, yes, sure, they would see the opportunity, and they'd probably approach it through Thailand, quite possibly. But so ones who are still back in Australia, I guess they're waiting for that final wake-up call. You know, if it's a manufacturer, I guess if things are getting tough, then you know. If they don't start to look external to Australia, then they could be in serious trouble.
So as too much of still in Australia, she'll be right, mate. It'll be okay, don't worry.
Yes, but this is, I mean, the problem is that sometimes they'll die a slow death, but although they won't be aware. So it's like the frog being boiled to death, I mean, in the hot pot of water. But this is, I guess, where, you know, we as a nation need to become more Asia aware.
Yeah. 600 million people is a lot of people to put through.
So that's, you know, even in Australian boards, for example, ASX listed companies, I mean, you'll probably find few represented on the main boards who are actually sort of Asia-centric people, perhaps had that experience in Asia. And I think until that happens, it's going to be a bit of a tough road.
Sure. So. John, you've had the conference. It's been very, very successful. Lots of interaction, lots of people talking. The businessmen actually coming together and communicating, and not at a lower level, at the high level too. How do you take it forward from here? What is the next step for the Chamber in making sure that this conference isn't forgotten, but there are opportunities that we can all benefit from both ways?
Okay, there were quite a few great ideas that came out of today. I mean, one in particular, it's a bit sort of left field, but I mentioned just a little bit earlier about the Asian Century White Paper. Yeah. Now, there was a little bit of criticism today levelled at our government for because in that paper there was a submission process where over 200 papers were actually submitted from the private sector, government sector, various people, including Dr. Bundit here, one of our speakers, who made a submission. Our Chamber of Commerce, AusCham, made a submission, as did some private citizens here in Thailand. Now, we do feel a little bit that, and this is a general view, unfortunately, on this paper, so it's not just our view, that some of these submissions, great ideas, but perhaps a little bit overlooked in that. So
and Thailand was ignored.
Well, absolutely.
A, it was ignored, and B, the other point was that consideration was not given to the SMEs, which is a very big part of what's happening in Asia and in Australia.
Yes, no, it's true. I mean, Thailand was overlooked, which is a surprising figure given that Thailand is actually Australia's 7th largest trading partner. And I think it's similar for the other way around as well. So it's not like that's an insignificant relationship. It's worth $16 billion in joint trade. So it was a little bit surprising that Thailand was left out.
How do you push them forward? How do we go forward?
Well, I mean, I guess one idea would be to actually, you know, maybe this is an initiative for private industry, maybe not just for us here in Thailand, but maybe it's an Australian industry initiative, is to gather all those submission papers and have a trawl through those ideas and maybe present an alternative. So
called the black paper, right?
Well, I guess the black paper, like an alternative universe proposition.
But open it up.
But open it up. You know,
AusCham's got a role to play.
I think so. I mean, we have been pushing because, I mean, one of the things I was talking about our back to business and one of the earlier initiatives in this whole getting back to business was a study on the Australian-Thailand business relationship. And during that study, one of the surprising things that came out of that, well, perhaps not so surprising because it's been a major theme of this conference, is that, well, there isn't that much Australian business here on the ground.
Correct.
When you talk about investment, because there's trade, but trade's, you know, widgets, prices go up and down. It's, you know, it's not really very sophisticated stuff in reality. Versus investment, because investment requires personal relationships. There hasn't been that much investment from Australia back into Thailand, but we've seen significant investment actually the other way. And today we heard from some excellent speakers representing Mitpon. Had PTT, wonderful experience in Australia, and certainly for anyone who's xenophobic back in Australia, I think a great case study for a company here in Thailand that's obviously good at what it does, which is sugar production, ethanol production, but finding a partner, or actually in this case acquiring a business in Australia that was in sugar production, but actually leveraging the opportunity that presented, which was the sort of the smarts, the intellectual property that was possessed there, because they did things differently. They had efficiency of production versus using high labour. So we heard about that today. That was a great success story.
There are so many good things happening. It's just a matter of being able to take it forward.
Yes.
John, thank you for joining us. And you're going to put another conference on like this next year?
Perhaps not next year, but I think it should be, because it is a lot of work.
It is, yeah.
But certainly, I was thinking that toward the end. It's something that perhaps we could have every 2 years.
And in between that, we need some action.
We need to get some action, and I mean,
good luck with it.
It's a big effort to put it on, and we need our supporters out there to fund it as well.
Well, it looks as though you've got them this time.
But this time around, absolutely, and let's hope we can
every
find
success.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Valerie,
John.
and
we'll
nice
catch up and find
you.
out some more about what needs to go forward and what's going to happen in the next few weeks.
As you can see, I'm starting my day off. Some kids here riding a small elephant here at the Laguna Phuket. Well, today we'll find out what more activities there are to do throughout this entire complex, and family fun as well. Hey, you gonna let go? Oh, khap kun khap. Oh. Joining me on this absolutely beautiful day here in Phuket is Natasha Eldred, who is the Assistant Director of Marketing Communications for Laguna Resort and Hotels Public Company Limited. Thank you very much for being with us, and thank you very much for having us here, I might add.
Thank you for coming.
People are probably wondering, where exactly are we right now? Because we can see some absolutely gorgeous settings in the lagoon here, some beautiful buildings behind us.
Yep.
This is actually I might say one of the prime areas within Phuket.
We're on Bang Tao Beach, so if you can see just over there, you have the beach itself, and behind us we have Laguna Beach Resort.
Well, in the Laguna here, a lot of things to do as well. If you're lucky enough, we might say, to stay at one of the many hotels and resorts here.
Sure.
Almost kind of a private community here.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much to do.
For family members though, maybe small kids is coming along for the vacation, activities for them as well?
Laguna Phuket is optimum family resort. There's just no end to activities. Most of our hotels have dedicated kids clubs, which obviously the children can go and enjoy lots of activities throughout the day. We have a whole host. We have elephants here, we have baby elephants, adult elephants, which is very educational for children, and for us it brings everything back to an indigenous message that, you know, we are in Thailand. The elephant is a revered emblem, symbol of Thai culture. So
well, I know as a child, you know, coming here for vacation can leave quite an impression. Definitely set them up for returning to Thailand in the future.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing with Laguna Phuket is that it's a safe environment, and for a lot of people that have never explored Asia, coming to a resort where everything is taken care of, it's safe, it's convenient, you have so many choices, it then gives people a little bit more confidence to explore more of Asia, because they've got all the mod cons here. Phuket's got a fantastic infrastructure. We've got shopping, we've got cinemas, we've got hospitals, and all the other attributes that I mentioned earlier. And I think this is the first gateway for a lot of people into Asia.
Well, Natasha, thank you very much once again for having us here. Hopefully those watching can get a small taste, and hopefully, as you mentioned, it's a great time to come here.